Good evening to all. Good evening all. Let's wait for a few minutes. Okay, in yesterday's class, we started the 11th first volume zoology book, the first lesson, the living world. So now, yesterday we saw the two passages. So now, next passage, characteristic features of organism. See the characters of all the living organisms living in this ecosystem. So now let's start our class. Living organisms show a variety of unique characters different from non-living matter. I have said about the unique characters of all the living organisms in yesterday's class that all the living organisms have some different and varieties of unique characters which will differ from non-living matter. Okay? Now, the key organisms: cellular organization, nutrition, respiration, metabolism, growth, response to stimuli, reproduction, and okay, let me explain the first sentence of the characteristic features of living organisms. Living organisms have a different and varieties of unique characters which will be different from the non-living matter. The living organisms have some unique characters. Let's see what are those which differs from the non-living matter. Cellular organization. Cellular organization is nothing but cells organization, formation of these cells in different manner. We have more types of cells like meristematic cells, that is tissues together formed cells, cells together formed tissues or tissues to cells, and nutrition, which is the most important for all living organisms, growth. Then respiration, inhaling and exhaling of oxygen, inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide, which is absorbed by the plants and trees. Metabolism, breaking down of energy molecules. Growth doesn't mean only the height of the human being. Growth means also hormonal changes, secondary sexual characters, etc. And response to stimuli. Stimuli means if someone touch us, will immediately respond them, that is known as stimuli. And movement, locomotion, that is movement is nothing but locomotion. Locomotion mean moving from one place to another. All living organisms have locomotory organs in a different way. Like cockroaches have antennae to locomote themselves, humans have legs to locomote themselves. Reproduction. Reproduction is only seen in the living organism which is used to develop our hereditary. Excretion. Excretion is the main process which leads a healthy life of a human. Adaptation. Adapting to the atmospheric character and homeostasis is nothing but study of our human health. Steady, no study. Steady means STEADY, study of an human characters. So these are the key characters of living organism. You will get a 1 mark from this. Living organism dash show a variety of unique characters from dash. Living organism from non-living matter. Then the second 1 mark is, I'll highlight it. The key characters of living organism are cellular organization dash dash dash. You can answer anything from this. Okay. Numerous scientists, then next we'll move to the next line. Numerous scientists and taxonomists have made tremendous contribution and documentation in the observation and study of even minute characters in living organism. Numerous scientists, we have more and more scientists in this technological world, and taxonomists. Taxonomy, the word mean taxonomy is naming a species. Taxonomist is referred to the person who names a species is known as taxonomist. Have made a tremendous mean the big change. Both scientists and taxonomists have made a big contribution and documentation in the observation and study of even minute characters in living organism. All the scientists and taxonomists have contributed themselves in researching and observing all the even microorganism characters like amoeba character, bacteria character. So with the use of all those taxonomists and scientists, we came to know about the characters of all the bacteria, algae, all minute organism, all human characters, etc. So in this place, we have to thank all the scientists and taxonomists. Let's move to the next line. Their keen observations have led to the classification of living organism and study of their interrelationships. Because of all the numerous scientists and taxonomists, we have classified all the living organism into a separate group, and we came to know about all the interrelationships. Now we'll see what are the classifications. Let's move to the next paragraph. Need for classification. We come across many places where things are arranged in specific categories. For example, we'll take library. Library has been separated into different category of books, like books into history books into one column, geography books into one column. Here, how libraries are separated into many books, like that living organisms are separated in classified into many groups. Even in supermarkets, we have shelves with rows and columns. For grocery, separate place, cosmetics, separate place, stationery, toys, snacks, utensils. All are classified based on their characters. Likewise, all living organisms are being classified into separate groups. If it is not arranged in a well organized manner, customers and salespersons will waste lot of time. If all the snacks together, cosmetics together, all together, if there is, it will look much rubbish and it will took more lot of time. So we have to separate all things into the one category. So in the same way, library is also organized, which I have gave example, into the alphabetic orders or into the novel separate place, kids separate place, stories, etc. Likewise, it is nearly impossible to study all the living organism. So all the living organism are being separated into groups. Humans, mammals are the highest multicellular organisms. Hence, it becomes necessary to devise some means and methods to make this possible. And this process is called classification. Classification is nothing but classifying all the products into a different place is known as classification. Classification is a process by which things are grouped into convenient categories based on easily observable characters. Okay. Based on easily observable characters. The scientific term used for these categories is taxa. Taxon means singular. Taxa indicates categories at different levels. For example, kingdom Animalia. So here the scientific term refers taxa. Taxon means singular. Taxon indicates categories at different levels. For example, kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Animalia refers that animals that are mammals. They are multicellular animals like reptiles, mammals, etc. Based on their characteristic, all living organisms can be classified into different taxa. Kingdom Animalia is one classification which is only for reptiles, mammals, etc. And kingdom and aves, that classification is only for birds. This science of classification is called taxonomy. Note this point, taxonomy is nothing but classifying a particular kingdom is known as taxonomy. External and internal structures along with development process and ecological information of organisms are essential as they form basis of the taxonomical studies. All the humans have external features and internal features. So according to that, taxonomy process is being based on that. Hence, characterization, identification, nomenclature and classification are the scientific stages that are basic to taxonomy. I have said that taxonomy is naming a thing that is based on singular or plural. Nomenclature is also known as naming a species. So for the taxonomy, which are the basic tools for taxonomy is characters, identifications, nomenclature and classification. These are the most important one. Mark it. So now this is our last passage. The basic need for classifications are, what are the basic need, how we have to classify all the organism? Let's see. To identify and differentiate closely related species. We have to identify one organism deeply. We have to identify all their unique characters with related species. Next point. To know the variation among the species, we have to compare the species, one species with other species. Then we have to classify into that group. To understand the evolution of the species, we must know the evolution, that is stage by stage growth of the species. Then we have to classify the organism. To create a phylogenetic tree among the different groups, we have to make a phylogenetic tree, that is evolution tree, to separate the species. To conveniently study living organism, we must conveniently study all the characters of the all living organism. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 points are the basic need for classification. So now let's move to the taxonomy and systematics. Taxonomy. Taxon means single. Taxonomy. General taxes. Taxes means arrangement and norms means law. Arrangement law is known as taxonomy. Is the science of arrangement of living organism along with classification, description, identification and naming of organism. So now let's stop with this. From tomorrow we'll see about taxonomy and systematics. Now I'll end up my class. Thank you.